Kiki was an 18-year-old girl with big dreams. She lived in a small mud house with her family. Her family was very poor. They could barely eat 3 square meals a day. But Kiki studied hard in school. Her mother, Mama Ifa, was very proud of her. One evening, her mother sat beside her, peeling cassava for their evening meal. "Kiki, my daughter," Mama Ifa said with a soft smile. "No matter where life takes you, stay true to yourself. Don't let the world change who you are. Don't follow bad people." Kiki nodded, her heart swelling with determination. She had just received a scholarship to attend the University of Ibadan. It was a dream come true for her family. The villagers celebrated her success, calling her the hope of the community. As she prepared to leave for school, Mama Ifa gave her a worn Bible and a small purse of coins. "Remember, Kiki, life will test you, but always choose the right path," she said. Kiki hugged her mother tightly, promising to make her proud. As she boarded the rickety bus to the university, Kiki felt a mix of excitement and fear. She had big dreams, but little did she know that life at the university would test her in ways she could never imagine. University life was like a different planet to Kiki. The tall buildings, the crowded lecture halls, and the loud students overwhelmed her. On her first day, she met 2 girls, Sade and Bola. They were stylish, confident, and seemed to know everything about campus life. "Kiki, you can't walk around looking like that," Sade teased, pointing at her simple dress and worn slippers. Bola laughed and said, "Come with us. We'll show you how to enjoy life." At first, Kiki hesitated, remembering her mother's advice. But loneliness and curiosity pushed her to follow them. The girls took her to a nightclub and introduced her to a world of flashy clothes, loud music, and expensive drinks. Kiki felt out of place, but she was also drawn to the glamour. One evening, Sade said, "Kiki, you have to stop being so uptight. Life is short. Enjoy it while you can." Kiki smiled nervously, unsure if she was making the right choice. Deep down, she knew she was straying from her mother's advice, but she didn't want to lose her new friends. Kiki's new lifestyle came with challenges. One evening, when Sade and Bola invited her to another nightclub, Kiki hesitated. "I have a test tomorrow," she said. Sade rolled her eyes. "Tests will always be there, but nights like this are rare," she argued. Bola added, "Don't be boring, Kiki. Just come for a little while." Kiki knew it was wrong, but she didn't want her friends to think she was dull. She skipped studying and joined them. The music was loud and the lights were dazzling. Kiki felt out of place but pretended to enjoy herself. When she returned to her hostel late that night, she lied to her roommate, Angela. "I was studying in the library," she said. Angela looked skeptical but didn't press her. As Kiki lay in bed, guilt gnawed at her. She thought about her mother's words, "Stay true to yourself," but she quickly pushed the thought aside. "It's just one night," she told herself. She didn't realize this was the beginning of more nights filled with secrets and regrets. One weekend, Sade introduced Kiki to a wealthy man named Chief Alao. He was older, well-dressed, and had an air of authority. "Kiki, meet Chief. He's very generous," Sade said with a sly smile. Chief's eyes lingered on Kiki. "You're a beautiful young lady," he said, handing her a drink. Kiki blushed, feeling both flattered and uncomfortable. Sade whispered, "Relax. He's a good man. He can help you." At first, Kiki avoided Chief. She didn't like how he looked at her or the way he always offered her money. But one day, when she was struggling to pay for her textbooks, Sade said, "Why suffer when Chief can help you." Kiki reluctantly agreed to meet him again. Chief gave her a bundle of cash, enough to cover her school fees, and more. "You don't have to thank me, just keep me company," he said with a smile. Kiki felt uneasy but convinced herself it was harmless. "I'll just take the money and keep my distance," she thought. However, she didn't know that accepting Chief's help would lead her down a dangerous path. Kiki started spending more time with Chief. At first, it was innocent. They would meet at restaurants and he would shower her with gifts. But soon, Chief's intentions became clear. "Kiki, you're special to me," he said one evening. "Why don't you let me take care of you properly?" Kiki felt trapped. She knew it was wrong, but the money and gifts made her life easier. Her grades were slipping and she was missing classes, but she convinced herself that she could balance everything. One night, Chief invited her to his private guest house. "It's just dinner," he assured her. But when Kiki arrived, she realized she was alone with him. Chief was charming and persistent. Against her better judgment, Kiki gave in to his advances. Afterward, Kiki felt a mix of shame and fear. She tried to justify her actions. "I needed the money," she told herself, but deep down, she knew she had crossed a line she could never uncross. Weeks turned into months, and Kiki's relationship with Chief became more serious. She tried to hide it from everyone, but rumors began to spread on campus. "I heard Kiki is dating a married man," one student whispered. Kiki pretended not to hear, but the gossip hurt her. Even Angela, her roommate, started acting distant. "Kiki, is it true?" she finally asked one evening. Kiki denied it, laughing nervously. "People just like to talk," she said, but the guilt was written all over her face. Then one morning, Kiki woke up feeling nauseous. She dismissed it as stress, but when the symptoms persisted, she went to the campus clinic. The nurse did a couple of tests and found out she was pregnant. The nurse's words were like a thunderclap. "You're pregnant." Kiki's world crumbled. She couldn't believe it. How would she face her family? What would Chief say? She sat outside the clinic, trembling. For the first time, she realized how far she had strayed from her mother's advice. Kiki sat on her bed, staring blankly at the walls of her tiny dorm room. Her heart raced as she clutched at the pregnancy test results. She couldn't keep this secret for long. That evening, she confided in Sade and Bola. "I'm pregnant," Kiki whispered, tears streaming down her face. Sade looked shocked but quickly composed herself. "For Chief?" she asked. Kiki nodded. Bola frowned and said, "This is bad, Kiki. He's married. If his wife finds out, it'll ruin him and you." "What do I do?" Kiki pleaded, her voice trembling. "You have to get rid of it," Said said bluntly. "There's no other way." Kiki hesitated. She thought about her mother, her dreams, and everything she had worked for. "I can't do that," she said. Bola sighed. "If you don't, your life will be over. No one will take you seriously anymore." Kiki felt torn. She didn't want to go against her morals, but fear of shame and rejection weighed heavily on her. She decided to think about it, not knowing the choice she made would change her life forever. The next day, Kiki gathered her courage and went to see Chief. They met at a secluded cafe away from prying eyes. "I need to talk to you," Kiki began nervously. Chief leaned back in his chair, smiling. "Anything for you, my dear. What's on your mind?" "I'm pregnant," she blurted out, her voice barely audible. The smile vanished from Chief's face. He stared at her, his expression cold. "What did you just say?" "I'm pregnant," she repeated, tears filling her eyes. Chief sighed heavily, rubbing his temples. This can't happen. Do you know what this would do to my reputation? My wife would kill me. Kiki felt sad and disappointed. I thought you cared about me, she said softly. I do, but this is different, he replied sharply. You need to take care of it. I'll give you the money. Kiki felt sick to her stomach. She left the cafe with a bundle of cash in her bag and a heavy weight on her heart. She knew she had a choice to make, but every option seemed wrong. Back at the hostel, Sade and Bola encouraged Kiki to use the money Chief had given her to solve her problem. There's a place downtown where they can take care of this, Sade said. Kiki hesitated. Is it safe? She asked. Of course, Bola assured her. Plenty of girls have done it. You'll be fine. Kiki spent the night crying, clutching the Bible her mother had given her. She prayed for guidance, but felt no peace. The next morning, she reluctantly agreed to let Sade take her to the clinic. The clinic was a dingy, poorly lit building on the outskirts of town. The doctor seemed indifferent, rushing through the procedure. Kiki felt a sense of dread as she lay on the cold metal table. Halfway through the procedure, Kiki felt a sharp pain and screamed. What's happening? She cried. The doctor mumbled something about complications, but Kiki's vision blurred and darkness overtook her. Sade and Bola waited anxiously in the clinic's lobby. When the doctor finally emerged, his face was grim. I'm sorry, he said. We lost her. The words hit Sade like a slap. What do you mean? She was fine. There were complications. She lost too much blood, the doctor explained. Sade and Bola sat in stunned silence, guilt washing over them. They had pushed Kiki into this, and now she was gone. The news spread quickly. When Mama Ifa heard, she collapsed. My daughter, she cried loudly. She was my only hope. Her heart couldn't bear the pain, and she passed away the same day. The village mourned the loss of Kiki and Mama Ife. Many whispered about the dangers of abandoning one's values and the importance of listening to wise counsel. The news of Kiki's death and Mama Ife's passing spread quickly. The entire village gathered to mourn. Women wept openly, and elders shook their heads in sorrow. She was such a bright girl, one villager said. This is a tragedy. Kiki's uncle organized the funerals. He spoke with tears in his eyes during the ceremony. Kiki had dreams that would have lifted this family from poverty. Her story reminds us all of the importance of holding on to our values, no matter how hard life gets. The funerals left the villagers reflecting on their own choices. Many parents vowed to teach their children to resist peer pressure and value their integrity. Kiki's story became a warning for young girls in the village. Sade and Bola couldn't escape their guilt. They avoided each other, unable to face the truth of their actions. Sade struggled with nightmares of Kiki's last moments, and Bola found herself withdrawing from her usual social circles. One evening, Bola visited Sade. We ruined her life, she said, her voice trembling. We didn't force her, Sade replied defensively, but her tone lacked conviction. Maybe not, but we didn't help her either, Bola said. If we had encouraged her to stay on the right path, Kiki might still be here. The two girls decided to leave campus and return home, unable to live with the weight of their actions. They vowed to change their lives and find a way to honor Kiki's memory. If you're still watching this video up to this point, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and tell us where you are watching from in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more interesting stories. Chief Alao tried to pretend nothing had happened, but the truth eventually caught up with him. Word of Kiki's death reached his wife, who confronted him. "You brought shame to this family," she screamed, packing her belongings. Chief's business partners and friends distanced themselves, unwilling to associate with him. He lost his wealth, his family, and his reputation. Alone and disgraced, Chief realized too late the consequences of his actions. Months later, the village elders organized a program to educate young people about making wise decisions. Kiki's story was shared as a cautionary tale. Let us honor her memory by teaching our children to stay true to themselves, Babatunde said. The program brought new awareness to the community. Young girls and boys learned about the dangers of peer pressure, the importance of self-respect, and how to seek help when facing challenges. Sade struggled to forgive herself. She left the city and returned to her village, where she started attending church. Over time, she felt comfortable and peaceful because of her belief in God, and began counseling young women. "It's never too late to change," she told them. Even after her death, Mama Ife's words lived on in the hearts of many. Parents in the village began to echo her advice. Stay true to yourself, no matter where life takes you. Her legacy became a guiding light for the next generation. Bola visited Kiki's grave one day, laying flowers on it. "I'm so sorry, Kiki," she whispered. "I promise your story won't be in vain." Sade joined her, and together they prayed for forgiveness and healing. It was a moment of closure for them both. Through Kiki's memory, the village grew stronger, and her dream of education and better opportunities inspired many to strive for success while staying true to their values,